It's a warm welcome from TPF Software to yet another webinar on ZTPF GI. In today's session, we are going to discuss about message run feature in the ZTPF GI. Message run input files are a kind of scripts that contains a series of input messages which can be run through the ZTPF GI terminal as if you're manually typing the messages through the terminal. This helps in automating the testing process that you do with the terminals. This file's properties includes like these are just plain text files with the extension .input, and these files can recognize special characters representing comments, carriage returns, and line continuations. They can also recognize the AGI-CMD and AGI-CM prefixes that allows commands to be directed to VM or CMS EXEs. It also allows you to prefix your commands with phase 1, phase 2, or all phases so that you can use the same input file to deliver a set of commands depending on the phase that you want to select and play your input files for. So this is a brief information on what are the basic properties and what this input file is. Let's move on to see how this message run is useful for us. This feature allows you to pump in application entries for any type of transaction flows such as ticketing, PNR generation. And also the second thing is that it runs the application and entries for setting up a test environment before the user tests the user changes in the test system to which the user is currently connected to. We don't have like any specific restrictions in terms of the naming of the input file or the size in terms of naming the file, but there is a constraint that the file type should be input file. You can have any combinations of alphanumeric characters as your file name followed by the input symbol. Even if you give the name in an uppercase and save it in your PC or host files, once you just double click, once you click on this input file to have it in your editor area, this file name will automatically get changed to the default format. It will be in a lowercase followed by the extension input. Now you could see that you have this input file active in your editor area. So let's load this input file. You could see the executable lines of instructions are denoted by a blue dots on the left cutter in the editor area. Also the run execution options are now enabled. Um, the step allows you to step that run your your executable lines step by step. Play will run all the instructions at one stretch. It will not pause at execution of each instructions. Skip to cursor, like if you prefer to suddenly skip to a particular line in this input file, you can keep your cursor here and click skip to cursor to move to that respective line, and eject it if you feel like you are done with this input file and you want to do some more changes. And you want to check with another input file, then you can eject this out, and you can check and pump in another input file. So I'm going to again load this file. See, like if you want to set a breakpoint here, you can do it by right clicking it. You could see now this breakpoint is set here, and also you have the list of that breakpoint list being enabled for you to continue. This breakpoint is set to stop this run execution and then play it from the pause mode. After this run process, that once you play it, the output gets populated or it's displayed in your output window under the message input output tab. We have another feature, message log, which allows you to log your message inputs and outputs. So if you want to log your the input and the outputs in this particular transaction flow, you need to just click on this to have your log feature enabled. Now let's move on to the next set of settings, like the run options. Here you define the settings that is required for doing this message run process, like what are the files. See, once you load, what are the input files that are available here will be listed down in this menu. Once you click on this loaded file, it will get populated here, and see, all these threes are now in our view, so these are being loaded, and so it's visible to our in this view. Then comes the terminal. It will show the list of terminals that are available uh, or applicable for this test system to which the user is currently connected to. You can select the preferred terminal through which you can see your output. So I'm going to select here ALC terminal. And there are two modes in which you can run this process. One is the standard mode. The other one is your pause mode. The standard mode means that you can direct, once you start executing your input file, that's once you run your input file, um, this file will be directly sent to your host as soon as it's been input into the terminal. If you go and select as pause, then it means that this input file will be placed into the terminal, and it will wait for you for your confirmation. That is, it will wait for you to give the press the enter key. This mode is very preferred, like if you do want to make any last minute changes into your input file, save it, and then again click the play button or step button to continue the message run process. There are like two different phases, and one is another value is all, like irrespective of the phase, the input file being used, like here the message run will take place irrespective of the phase in which it's been injected. If you go with the just phase one, then it will allow only the commands that are not prefixed with phase 2 to be sent in, and if you go with the phase 2 values, it will allow the commands that are not prefixed with phase 1 to be pumped in. Now this I'll just give a brief information of what this control characters and show target terminals are about before just actually moving in detail about this in the end of my session. So this control characters shows you the list of special characters that's being used here with special meaning, like this whole section by default, like the here the hash sign is used as the command character in the first column only, and you could see here the apostrophe is also used for commenting, and ampersand is used as a continuation character, and even the backslash, and the carriage written characters are the semicolon, and the you can select any item from this available list and configure based on your requirements. We'll discuss later in detail about this with a suitable product demo at the end. So the show target terminal shows you the terminals that you have selected for seeing the execution of the input file that you are loaded. So I have here selected ALC1, so this is the ALC window that's been shown. Okay, let's just click on it. Now let's start with the actual process, that is running this input file. You could notice like this CM in this terminal, the TCMD terminal will be common for all types of users because it's generic for all of the users in pumping. This terminal is only used for pumping your IBM Z entries. Okay. Mm. Now just let us eject the file, again load it. I'm going to go with step-by-step process. So I'm having here my window here open if I want. Okay. So I've given you a pause and phase 2, so that's the reason it's getting issue here. So I'll keep it all, I'll keep it standard. Again I'll start playing. So the run process is now completed, and you could see like I've given here a carriage written. So this is a format like this. Both the application entries, it's in two lines of shown in two lines, so it's just shown the same way here. I'm going to do with step by step, so it's moving step by step as I enter. So I'm just clicking this okay. So if again I want to move to any particular instructions, I can directly come here. So again I'm moving here, move a breakpoint. Again step it. See, since these two lines are commented, it directly pumps into the next executable instructions. So I think like you have got a brief idea on what this message run process is about. Um, Now let's move on to our control characters. See, this section, like if you want to change any existing default value, first you have to bring in a particular um, special character into this particular text box. So I'm just moving one item here. Only one item you can be moved at a time. And again, I'm using this as my now command character. So it's similarly in the other way, like if you see, I'm going with my first column only as a hash or comment, and applying it here. So if I give an hash sign here and load this file, you could see it's been commented. So again, I'm ejecting it out. If there's another sign, like I've used here percentage as my first as an option in the first column only and as a comment character, giving OK, and again I'm giving here the percentage sign and I'm loading this file. So again, you could see that execution it's not executed because it's commented as per the character that we have defined here. So I'm ejecting it out, checking it here. So I'm just moving this out. The same way, like if I want to like bring in any line, see here you could see like apostrophe is used as a comment character in any of the column, including the first column. Okay, so let me give it here. I'm giving it here as no. Okay, I'm again loading it. You could see the execution sign is still here, but the part after this apostrophe is being now commented, so that will not be included during your execution. The next is the continuation character. Here ampersand and the backslash have been used as the continuation characters. um, okay, so if I'm using here the ampersand, so it's a continuation character. So ZD soft and ZSAT will be now executed in one terminal. To see this output, I'm going to have it my Windows my terminal window open. So again, I'm going to load it and go with the play. Now you could see like when it comes to the end of the execution, that since it's a continuation character, the instruction will be executed as a single instructions in your terminal ZTsoft ST80. Okay, let's move the last case, that is the carriage return. Here semicolon is used as a special character. See, only the if the application entry format is 2 lines, then you can go for this carriage written characters. So semicolon is the written character I have defined here. So I'm going to replace this ampersand by semicolon. And again, I'm going to load this. Sorry, I'll eject it. I'll load it. Again, I'll play with my terminal window open, so you can actually see what's happening. Now you could see like ZSAT is now executed separately. Given here a colon, it should be a semicolon. So you could see, as I've defined here in this as both the input format to be in 2 lines, the window also shows it in two as 2 lines of instructions. So once the message run process is complete, it will be shown by this information dialog box. If you don't want to have this pop-up prompting after each and every message run, you can just tick this checkbox, don't tell me this again, and click OK. So that'll this pop-up will not again pop up after each message run execution. Okay, so if you want to log this, you already have this information here. So I've just enabled this option, and I'm going to again load it. So now let me so you could see like my input file has all the input and output information of each application entries that's been executed here. So I can save this file with going to this Z application button file as, and I can save it either in my PC files view or in my host file view based on my requirement. And also I have another option, like if at all I want to save this file, like I missed out, like I can directly take in my inputs and output from this output window by right clicking this message input tab. This window will open. Like if you clear the window, then only this particular tab, that is message input output tab, will be cleared out. If you clear all the output, then the outputs in all the tabs like build, error, command, find, source scan, library, and all that will get cleared. And if I want to copy this input output to a new editor, I can select this option. This is now being open in a new tab in this editor area, and I can save it as before. either in the PC view or a host file view based on my requirement. That's all for the message feature. If you do have any questions, please raise it during the session.